Hello kids, good morning. Welcome back. I hope you all are clear with the concept of core pattern and how to identify the core pattern. Now let's move on to our next topic, that is growing and shrinking patterns. Growing and shrinking patterns. Growing pattern can also be said as increasing pattern and shrinking pattern can also be called as decreasing pattern. Let us first understand what is growing pattern. Okay, growing pattern is different than repeating pattern. About core pattern in our last session. Core pattern is also known as repeating pattern. Repeating pattern has a core and that core repeats again and again and again. And in the repeating pattern, we can label the elements which help us to predict what comes next. Let's see one example. This is the example of a core pattern or a repeating pattern. See, circle, square, triangle. What will come next? Again, circle, square, triangle. Then what will come again? Circle, square, triangle. This is what this figure repeats again and again and again. So this is the core of this pattern. Okay. Now we can label the elements. If I want to label this, I can label such as A, B, C. Then again it becomes very clear that again it will come A, B, C. So that is what it helps to predict us what will come next. Now today we are going to discuss about the another pattern, the one which does not has a core. Let's see one example. I have drawn one circle, a small circle over here. Then, okay. Then, what can you see in this? This is an example of growing pattern, which is also known as increasing pattern. In this pattern, I started up with 1 and then when I went to next figure, the one number is same and it increased by 1 more. It means it grew by 1 more. And then next it started with the same and grew by 1 more. Next we took this same 3 dots and it grew by 1 more. This is a growing pattern because every time I move to the next figure, it gets bigger and bigger. So here we can see that we started with 1 and grew by 1 every time. So here we started with 1 and every time grew by 1. So this becomes the rule over here and it shows the growing pattern. It grows every time by 1. Let's see one more example. Now I am drawing 3x over here. In the next figure, this 3x will repeat and you will see it grew by 2 more x. Then here in the next figure, this 5x will repeat and again it grew by 2x. So here we started with 3 and every time it grew by 2. So this is how growing pattern is. Growing pattern is every time it increases by 1 or 2 numbers. So this is what we call it as growing pattern. A growing pattern is a pattern in which the numbers increase and the part added changes each time in a particular manner. Let us take one more example. Here I have 2 blocks with me. Now in the next figure you can see these two blocks are same and it increases by one more. It grew by one more. Then in the next figure, these three blocks are same and it grew by one more. So this is what growing pattern is. It always grows in a different numbers. Shrinking pattern. Patterns always do not increases. It decreases too. That is what shrinking pattern is. A shrinking pattern is a pattern in which the numbers decrease and the part subtracted changes each time in a particular manner. So in growing pattern, the numbers increases and the part is always added. And in shrinking pattern, the numbers always decreases and the part or a figure is always subtracted. Let us see one example. Now I am drawing here 6 dots. I am having here 6 dots. Now in the first figure I have 6 dots. Now in the second figure I will take these 4 dots and it shows that it shrink by 2 dots. Then in the next figure I will take only 2. So this is what it tells us about a pattern in decreasing manner. Here it was 6, here it was 4 and here it was 2. So the pattern started at every time it decreased by 2. So here the pattern is shrinked by 2 numbers. Okay, let's see one more example. Here I have 5x with me. Now in the next figure it is only 3. So it tells us that here the 3x are same and it decreased by 2x. Then as it is 3 over here, we come to know that it decreased by 2x. So in the last figure it will be only 1. So this is what shrinking pattern is. It is always decreased in numbers. Now let us see one more. 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s and 5s. Now you can see a design of S, of a zigzag. Okay, it is a zigzag design. Now here I made it up with 5s. Now in the next it shrink and 1, 2 and 3. There are only 3s. So it shrink by 2 numbers. Then if there is 3, here it will be only 1. So it decreased by or it shrink by 2 numbers. So this is what shrinking pattern is. So students, now you all are clear with growing pattern and shrinking pattern. Again I am repeating, a growing pattern is a pattern in which the numbers increase and the part added changes each time in a particular manner. The pattern is followed in the same way, but the part is added, the numbers are added in it. And a shrinking pattern is a pattern in which the numbers decrease and the part subtracted changes each time in a particular manner. The pattern is followed in the same way, but every time the numbers decreases. So that is shrinking pattern. Let us do one exercise to understand more about growing and shrinking patterns. Continue the following patterns. Now, here we have to find out whether it is a growing pattern or shrinking pattern. So here there is 1 star, then 2 star, then 3 star. It means every time the star has increased by 1 number. Here it was 1. So 1 plus 1, so 2. Then 2 is the same and it increased by 1. So what will be our next pattern? 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here also it will increase by 1 star. Now here a square and a triangle. Okay, a square, a triangle, a square, a triangle. It means it increased by 1 pattern. Then square, triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle. So now what will come next? square, triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle. The same, and again it will increase by one more figure. So a square and a triangle. Here 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3. 3 blocks. 1, 2. 2 blocks. So now we can see over here that every time it decreases by 1 block. So 4 blocks, 3 blocks, 2 blocks. So what will come next? Only 1 block. Clear? Then here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 dots. So here it was 8 dots. Here 6 dots. 4 dots. So here we can see that every time it decreased or it shrinked by 2 dots. So what will be the next? Only 2 dots. Clear? Then it is a bunch of 5 balloons. Then it shrink and it become only 4 balloons. Then it shrink and is left with 3 balloons. So now it will be only there with 2 balloons.
So thank you kids and have a nice day. We will meet soon in our next session.